fact that I can come here once a month, and the process of picking the topic, sometimes it's when it's close to the time, I'm like, Jesus, help me. Give me something to talk about. And sometimes it's something that I've been brewing on, that has been going on in my mind. Usually that's what I talk about. That's what you hear me share about here. And it's a blessing. I don't take it for granted that God gives me the inspiration, or maybe even puts the desire or the burden in my heart to share a topic. I believe that is all God in action. And I give him all the glory for that. Hallelujah. All right, I'm going to go ahead again and just start now. So my name is Tolu Osenwege. For those who don't know me, I am a licensed professional counselor here in the US, and I am just grateful for being in that space where I can walk alongside with people on their journeys through life. I do a lot of mental health counseling, but I also do just life coaching. How many would agree with me because that right now, just with life, different things are happening, and we have to continue to be strong through life. I mean, at least that's the expectation. People expect you to show up, to be strong, and you want that for yourself too. It's not just external expectation. I think there is an internal desire to show up for whatever life throws at us, except of course when we're tired. Sometimes we're just tired. We're like, I don't care about showing up. At this point, I am whatever you see. And that's not a bad thing either. So I welcome you. Maybe you watch this in the future or you join me live. I welcome you. And I really hope you're doing well. I hope that you're well. And I pray that you're well. I pray that your soul prospers. I pray that everything around you prospers, that your body prospers, that you experience God's favor. It's my prayer. Even right from the beginning, I'm just praying over you for God's grace and mercy to just surround you. I remember way back in college, when I met people, I would greet them. Hey, how are you doing? And I remember this guy, he stopped one day. He said, you always ask me how I'm doing like you really want to know how I'm doing. And I'm like, yeah, I want to know how you're doing. I really mean it. So here I am asking you, how are you doing? And usually when people ask me how I am doing, it takes me a while to answer. I try not to just give I'm fine, the generic answer, because I'm really thinking. So if you ask me how I'm doing, don't be surprised if you experience a pause, like maybe some 30 seconds pause, because I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to bring awareness to myself, like, how am I really doing? Because I want to be sincere about the answer. Sometimes, depending on who is asking, and I'm like, I don't really want to share how I'm doing with this person. I might say, oh, I'm good. Thank you for asking, though. I'm good. Because overall, I believe I'm always good. When you have God, He's got you. Whenever I'm with people that I feel safe, when they ask me how I am doing, I usually take time to check and give them an honest answer. And I know that sometimes it's not that they are the solution, but even talking about how I'm doing can be helpful for me to process what's happening in my life. So, and when I ask you, how are you doing? I'm not asking because I think that I can solve your problem, but I'm asking you because it will be good for you at least to know where you are. And sometimes life is just so crazy we don't even take time. We don't take time to pause and say, this is where I'm at. How am I doing? How do I feel? How do I feel? Am I in the moment? I really definitely, especially for those who might struggle with anxiety, you will find out that it's very easy for some people to freeze or to dissociate from what's happening in the moment. And so it's always important to find out, how am I doing? What's happening in the moment? It's a way to regulate. So yes, Tolu is asking you today, how are you doing? But ask yourself throughout the day and say, how am I doing? How am I doing? Well, that's not the topic of the day, but you know, you give me the mic, I keep talking. So that I was just really trying to say, how are you doing? And then it became a sermon. Hey Evelyn, thank you for joining. You're becoming my favorite person here. You're consistent. Thank you so much for being consistent and always showing up. I mean, way back, yeah. All right. So today's topic is going to be on grit. I don't know if it's a word that you're used to. And it's been around for a while, but GRIT is something I want to talk about. I want to talk about how it is formed, how we form it, and that's just the steps to develop it in our daily life. So what is grit? So grit is a character trait. It's a trait. It's a character trait that people would have. Just like, they might say, oh, that person has endurance, which is actually part of grit. So that's it. You just use the word grit. And when you say someone has grit, it shows that they have endurance, they are consistent to keep on keeping on for the long haul. Whatever the goal is, they just stay at it. Now, when someone has grit, it doesn't mean they don't feel pressure. It doesn't mean that life is easy. It actually means that they are able to withstand pressure. They are able to withstand pressure. And you can't say you have grit if you do not have self-control and that you can't make sacrifices. It's going to be hard. And that's why it's important, because with life or with anything that we do, you can confirm with me, there are many reasons why people will give up. If you are trying to do anything, I was going to say anything big, but if you're trying to do anything, there is a possibility that you will experience resistance. And I know that you and I don't just want to coast through life. We really want to live. We want to live well. And so we will experience obstacles. Hey Buki, thanks for joining. And when obstacles come, if you do not have that strength from within, you won't be able to just keep going. Actually, the Bible says in Proverbs, and I'm going to get to it later on, that if we fail or faint on the day of adversity, then it means that our strength is little. That means that when storms come, we should be able to withstand. But many times we're not able to. I'm going to talk talk about our culture for a little bit, because the culture we're in right now, the soft life culture, everybody wants comfort, just comfort. And I don't blame you. Life can be hard. You get enough, you're like, if there is a way out where I don't have to sweat and struggle and, I'm just trying to achieve, then please sign me up for the soft life, people. And let there be ease. That's the life we're in, that a lot of people want to have right now, is the soft life. Do you agree with me that people are like, please, I just want a soft life, if I can have it? But we have to be realistic, though, that there's a lot of global pressure. Like, if you're looking at the world as a whole, there's a lot of pressure, but there is also internal pressure that is always against that soft life dream that everybody would want. It's almost like, I'm trying to live a soft life, but life keeps lifing. How do you do that? So if life keeps lifing while I am trying to live my soft life, take it easy, I'm not trying to achieve too much, I'm not trying to overdo, I'm just trying to be present and live life well. And I should be able to live that and still, keep going. But the pressures of life just makes it impossible. Like, for example, I'm a dog student. Is it a bad thing to want to learn, to get as high as you can in your academic pursuit? It's not supposed to be a bad thing. But the doctoral life, I don't know who would say it's a soft life. In fact, we have a saying that when you complain too much, I've heard someone say, doctoral program was sitting down, Tolu, you went to meet the doctoral program. You're the one that disturbed the doctoral program, so don't complain to us. So it's like, you could have decided to just stay with your master's degree and do everything you're doing, but you decided that you wanted a doctoral program, so don't complain. Have you ever talked to people and they're like, how are you complaining? Shebi, you are the one that decided that you want this life. You are the one that said you want. So now it's like, can't we just even desire good things without the stress? Well, that's how life is like sometimes. It's almost like, okay, maybe we should not even desire anything, because you desire a little now. It's like adulting. Adulting, many people say adulting is a scam. When we were young, when we were teenagers, we'd be looking at adults like, hey, I want to grow up. I want to have my own house, drive my own car. But we forgot about the responsibilities that come with all of that. And then now you become an adult, you're like, can I please go back? Can I go back to when I was a teenager, when my parents paid all the bills? I want that life, not this one. Well, it's not possible. Growth is inevitable. We have to grow. And to grow well, we need grit. We need the ability to stay under pressure and to be able to be consistent. We need to be able to be consistent. There are different types of pressure that come at us. Financial pressure. It's just a global challenge right now. The money that used to buy things before, is no longer enough, You used to be able to go to the market with just so much funds, and maybe you get a big box. Now you go to the market and you just come back home with a small bag. That's even if you are able to come back with anything. So that financial pressure in itself has a way of affecting people's mental health. It has a way of affecting how people want to deal with life. So somebody that's trying to have a soft life and you have financial pressure, like you don't know where you pay the rent for the next month. You don't know how you pay your children's school fees, how you care for yourself. If you're a man, you're like, how am I going to care for my wife or my whoever it is that is important in your life? It becomes hard to just rest, be at ease when the world system is not functioning very well. And if it's not functioning very well, then what can we do about it? What can we do about it? And that's why I'm talking about grit, because I want you and me to be able to withstand what life will bring. Life will always bring things that we didn't plan for. And it's not every time you have the luxury of avoiding it. You know, some of us are very good at quitting. If it's hard, you quit, you go and try something else. You're like, okay, this one didn't work, and I got to a roadblock, so you turn, you go somewhere else. You try, most likely you're going to hit a roadblock too. So we can't always keep jumping and running. We have to be able to set our eyes on a goal and tell ourselves, like, quitting is not an option. I have to keep going on. And how can we do that? Like, sometimes you feel weak. I don't have the strength. I don't have what it takes to stand. But I want to encourage you that you have what it takes. You just have to pay attention to your daily decisions. And you're going to see from our talk that daily decisions matter. They do matter. They do matter. All right. You might have heard about stretching, like maybe people talk about there are times life stretches us. It stretches us in different directions, and that can be good. But when it comes to grit, life doesn't just stretch you. To get grit, sometimes life breaks you. So you're like, ooh, you don't want to be broken by life. But for beauty to come out sometimes, we have to be willing to be broken. And I will explain further what I mean. John chapter 12 verse 24 says, unless a seed dies, it remains alone. Sometimes we want self-preservation. Every human wants self-preservation. But we have to think ahead that for multiplication, sometimes we have to die to some things in our lives. And you want to be okay with the fact that what you used to believe in might have to change. You might have to surrender your will. What you thought I can't do, you might have to start learning how to do it. There might be a breaking, not just a stretching, but a breaking. In fact, one of the things that we avoid sometimes is emotional distress. As a counselor, I've had to work with people who go through anxiety and depression. And sometimes they think, oh, maybe something is wrong with me. It's a chemical imbalance. And I tell them, well, let's look at your situation right now first. And then when we look at the situation, I'm like, yeah, this situation, it's okay to be depressed because this situation is bad. And you can't go around it. You just have to hold on and know that depression and anxiety is a normal response for what you're going through right now, but it doesn't have to be something that you stay with for the rest of your life. But don't panic. When something hits you hard, if you get depressed, that's probably normal. If you don't get depressed, we should be worried. Maybe you lose a loved one. Yes, you're going to grieve. Yes, you're going to cry. Yes, it's going to be hard for you to get over it. And when people look at you weird, it's because they don't understand the process. I was working with a client who they had lost a loved one, and the son was dealing with it just in his own way as a child, because he couldn't really express himself. And so one of the things that he was doing was, I think he was having accidents in the bathroom, or maybe he would sleep and just pee on himself. And he wasn't doing that before. At this point, maybe he was like 7. And she thought it was connected to the death in the family. So she was concerned. She was like, I have to take my child to therapy and blah, 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 blah. Maybe there's a disorder. I said, okay, let me talk to your child. And I had a few sessions with the child. And what we did during the sessions was really just talking about the loss, gave him an ability to share, taught him how to process his thoughts, and those things stopped. So when you have pressure, when something is not going right with your finances, is not going right in your relationships, Yes, you might be depressed, and yes, you might be anxious. Don't freak out. It's because of the situation. And once you're able to process the situation, there is a likelihood that those symptoms will go. There, it will just go, and then you'll be able to feel better. So don't always run away from emotional distress. I want to talk to parents for a little bit and leaders. There are times we don't want our children to go through anything challenging. We're just like, hey, especially when we're like, I don't want them to go through the hardships that I went through. Some of those hardships are actually what brought you to be where you are today. It's because you went through hardships, you grew those muscles, and those muscles are now helping you in the future. If we don't let our kids grow those muscles, I don't know what kind of children we're trying to raise, what kind of generation we're trying to raise. We have to be careful that we don't raise a generation that cannot withstand anything. We cannot do that. So parents, be careful about rescuing. You're always there to rescue. They fall, you're rescuing. Sometimes let them fall and then get up themselves. They have to learn to get up. They have to learn the process. Maybe you show them one or two things. This is what you do when you fall. This is how you take care of yourself. So we have to be careful about being the rescuer from discomfort. Discomfort may not be terrible, and that's the thing about the soft life. The soft life is, I don't want any discomfort. I want it to be all relaxation, ease. But we know real life, we can always have ease. And discomfort doesn't always ask for permission before it comes. Now, if we raise children who don't live in the reality of life, that life would throw you curveballs, then we would have done a disservice. How many of you had a strict parent? I'm going to raise my hand. I had a strict parent. And it was not easy growing up under a strict parent. I would say that. But I would also agree and admit that I learned a lot growing up under a strict parent. There are things that I did not understand as a teenager, as a child. Some of the boundaries that my parents put around me that I saw as strict. Some of them I even thought, like, this is inhumane. You shouldn't do this to anybody. Fast forward now, I have better understanding about those things because I am a mom now too. I see what those boundaries meant. Now I know that some people are like, I had a strict parent. They were not just strict, they were evil. Like what they did to me was a trauma response. They were trying to figure out their own trauma and then they put me under trauma. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about parents who practice domestic violence just because they themselves are broken. No, I'm talking about a parent who is genuinely saying no to things and putting boundaries around how we live because they love us and because they know what we don't know. So parents, be careful. When you let your kids have everything they want, you might be destroying them. Or you might be reducing their capacity to take what life is going to throw at them someday. Because if they don't have it, if they don't learn it now, they're not going to have it. There's no, where will they learn it? By the time they're older and they're trying to learn, it's going to be harder. And this is also a call to leaders. There are some leaders that micromanage, they want to be on top of you as you do everything. And sometimes some leaders don't even trust their followers' judgment. They don't trust that the follower can bring something good out. They just like, okay, do it this way, do it that way. An employee makes a mistake, then you just want to jump in, give the assignment to somebody else, tell them that they can't do it. You're not building them up that way. First, let your environment be that where everybody knows we can make mistakes, because in making mistakes is where we can grow and we can learn. We have to be a culture that learns how to give feedback. So let your culture, leader, I'm talking to you, let your culture be that one where mistakes can happen and people can learn from their mistakes. And people can be given second chances even when they make mistakes. But when we have a culture where it's zero tolerance to error, where you make a mistake, you're out, or you don't get promoted because you make mistakes, then you're growing employees that are living a fake life, or they don't want to live work with you, or when they become bosses themselves, they don't give other people chances to learn. So we have to be careful. It's okay to say no to people. I'm not saying always say yes. It's okay to say no. Help people build that capacity to accept no. You know, when you hear no, depending on the situation, it can break one's heart. I've heard so many no's in my life, and I think it's one of the things that has made me to be tough. You know, I want something, somebody says no, I start thinking, what other way can I achieve what I want to achieve? If this door is closed, can I try other doors? Or if this is the only door, then maybe I'm going to have to learn another way to say the same thing, to ask differently. Why do they say no? So, but if you build a culture of people where, you know, you have to say yes, or you mean no, maybe you're still going to say no, but you keep saying yes and just pushing them forward, then it's dangerous. So let people have the capacity to hear no. They can be sad, and that's okay. You know, like when my kids, I say no, they say they're sad, and I'm like, that's okay. If I heard no, I'll be sad too. So you can be sad. And you're like, I'm crying. You can cry, baby. It's okay to cry because I said no. But that doesn't change the answer. It's still going to be no. You have to learn the reason why I said no. I tell them the reason why I said no. And then I let them know that it's part of the growing. The feeling pain because you have not been given what you want, that is good growth. Because in the future, when you hear no, you know, you've developed capacity, more capacity. So let's teach and help other people to grow those muscles. Maybe you yourself need to grow that muscle where you can hear no and you just know it's part of life. You know, I can speak a little bit about the education system. I had my undergraduate education in Nigeria. So I was born and bred in Nigeria. So schooling up until my undergraduate level was in Nigeria. And one thing our teachers did was to give feedback. They knew how to give feedback. Some of them will give to the extreme, but they'll give you feedback. Then I came to the US, I did my master's level program, and I'll be getting A's without feedback. I remember my first paper that I wrote, I got an A. I sent a message to my professor. I'm like, okay, thank you for the grade, but can I get a feedback? Can you tell me what I did right, what I can improve on? And they were like, oh, you did well. Meanwhile, when I submitted that paper, I still felt like, oh, I could do better. So what I'm driving at is, it's not really doing people good if we have a culture where we're not giving feedback. It doesn't help those people that you're training or building up. It's okay to give feedback. Yes, you want to give it respectfully. Yes, you want to be mindful of your language. Yes, you want to be sure that whatever you say is constructive. But not giving feedback, sugarcoating, lying, that's not helping someone develop. It doesn't help them to develop grit. And right now, as a doctoral student and learning to be a professor myself, I've had to do some teaching some students and master's level students, and giving feedback. And I could see the resistance, why some people don't like to give feedback. I did have some resistance. And even when you say it in the nicest of ways, it is not guaranteed that people will take it. So, I used all my nice words. I gave all the, okay, let's talk one-on-one. We can do Zoom. Some people are just not ready. But that's not your problem. If you're trying to give feedback and someone is not ready to take it, but you do have a responsibility though to give it. So if people take it or not is not your responsibility. To say it is your responsibility. Like Jesus came on earth and he spoke. He told people about the kingdom of God. He healed. He did many things. Not everybody accepted what he said, but he knew his responsibility was to give it, because he knew a generation needed that truth to grow. So he's not going to withhold it. A lot of prophets in the Bible, God will send them, go do this, go say this, and many people will not even listen. And I can imagine how those prophets felt. Like, God, did you really ask us to say this? Because these people are not listening. It's not your job to decide if they're going to listen. Your job is to say it. And I know in my personal life, there are many times that I felt like that. Like, okay, God, you truly are sending me to do this, to do that. And I have this desire that is not quenched, that is not stopping. Oh, why can't I get more people to listen? And he's like, but your job though, Tolu, the job description I gave you is to speak. That's all. You speak. So let's think about our lives and what we're doing and what our role is. Are you one who does not like feedback? Is that the area that you need to develop in? Just take it. Or are you one who has been put in a leadership role, who should be giving feedback, but you're shying away from it because you don't want to be rejected? Huh? Who sent you? The people or God? Or your conscience? Even if you say you don't believe in God, do you want people to be better? So I want to give an example of Jesus. I want Jesus to be our role model for grit. Just to show you a few things that Jesus actually did that will let you know that it's good to withstand, to endure, have a goal, and not just run away. Hebrews 12:2 says, Jesus, for the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross. Ooh, I don't know if you've watched any of those movies like Passion of the Christ or Chosen, where it showed where Jesus was just beaten. April, we went to church and they showed just a theatrical representation on Jesus's death and resurrection. Oh my, I was crying. It was as if I haven't watched it somewhere else before. It just hit me differently this Easter. But the Bible says, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross. So Jesus looked beyond the pain and he decided to endure the cross, as painful as the cross was. I am enduring this doctoral program, as painful as it is, as many nights I have to work, because of the joy that is set before me, ahead of me. Like when I was defining grit the other time, I said there is a long-term goal. So the ability to stay consistent and endure the long haul until you meet your goal, that is grit. And not everybody can do that. A lot of people quit on the way. But Jesus, who is my perfect example, I hope he's yours. And if he's not even someone you believe in, you can learn from him. He endured the cross because of the joy that was set before him. Another passage here, it's Hebrews 5:8. and says, though Jesus was a son, he learned obedience through the things that he suffered. So there are times that we will learn things through suffering. Jesus did not back down and say, that one is hard, so I will not do it. And Jesus, he's perfect, he's God, but he lived among us. He went through difficult things and learned obedience. So there are things that you and I can learn if we withstand and if we stay in the place of learning and pain and pressure. Don't be quick to run away. Don't be quick to run away. There's something to learn. Jesus knew there was something to learn. Philippians 2:8 says that Jesus humbled himself and died on the cross. And because of that, God gave him a name that is above every name. So there is reward in staying under pressure. There is reward. And that's our perfect example, Jesus. So I have a question for you. This is a fun question. Would you say Jesus lived a soft life? Did Jesus live a soft life? Okay, let me define soft life in case it's a new phenomenon to you. It's a life of ease, of simplicity, of slowing down to appreciate the smaller moments of joy. So rather than wealth and luxury, it's not really like about being so rich or anything. It's just promoting peace, it's promoting intentionality and just prioritizing one's mental health. So it can be good. I hope people are not dissing soft life, because when you hear people say soft life, you're like, this one wants to be lazy. They don't want to work. But is that what it is? Is soft life laziness? Because Jesus sure wasn't lazy at all. He was hardworking. He did what he needed to do. One thing you would know about Jesus is he knew his assignment. He told people what his deal was. I'm going to die. I'm going to rise up. Even his name showed that he knew what he was here for. He said, he shall be called Jesus because he will save his people from their sins. So he was not confused about his mission. And based on him knowing who he was, he just followed through. Whatever it is that was going to distract him, he didn't go that way. Even when Satan came to say, I'll give you everything, Jesus, just bow down, just worship me. No, Jesus was not swayed. He used God's word because he knew what he was here for. He was not about to be a king and getting everything that Satan was trying to give him. He knew what he was here for. So learning from Jesus, whether you want to say he lived a soft life or not, Jesus knew his goal. Do you know your goal? Do you have a goal? Because if you don't have a destination, you can go anywhere. I remember years ago in Nigeria, I lived in Lagos, and Lagos can be very, it's dense, population dense, and there can be so much traffic. So I lived on the mainland, worked on the island, and just traveling can just be a pain. I remember one day, I was waiting for a bus. We used buses for transportation. I didn't have a car yet then. And these buses were coming around and they were calling everywhere besides where I wanted to go. I'm like, I'm trying to go to Ojodubega now. I need a bus to call Ojodubega. The buses were calling up everywhere else, going to different directions except where I wanted to go. And you know the crazy thought I had a thought of maybe I should just enter that bus. And I had to think to myself, okay, if you enter a bus now that is going to Oshodi, for example, you will just enter a bus, you will not get home. You will not get home. Because Oshodi is not your home. You are going to Bega. So I had to tell myself, can you imagine? I had to tell myself to wait. The bus that will take you to where you're going, it has not come. Wait, be patient. So do you have a goal? Do you know where you're going? Otherwise, you will enter a bus that will carry you to where you're not going. So all this, me, I can't wait though. Do you have a destination? Because if you don't have a destination, you can enter any bus. Eh? If you don't have a destination, you can decide to be nonchalant with life. If you don't have a destination, you can decide, I'm not going to read, because your goal is not to pass now. Because if your goal is not to pass, is it not reading? Which other way do you want to pass? With dignity, or which other way do you want to do it? So if soft life is having goal and just keeping to it and staying, I don't mind a soft life. But if soft life is avoiding responsibility and doing things that I'm not supposed to do, count me out. So we have the Gen Zs, Alpha, who, some people are actually doing things smart. And working smart is good, you know. You go into the world of AI right now and just technology. Things that used to take people hours and days are happening fast. And there are goods and bads and negatives and positives to that. So you want to ask yourself, am I sincerely learning when I relinquish all my responsibility to something else? Or am I working smart and using this thing to help me? So that's a word for someone, you know. So are you working smart so that you don't have to work hard? Or are you cheating yourself and cheating other people? So cheating is not working smart. Cheating is not working smart. And pressure is not always punishment. Some people are like, no, I didn't come here to suffer. Sometimes the pressure is actually something that builds us up. So don't be quick to run away from pressure. It might just be what you need to grow. So the ability to just stay on course is what I'm hoping that you can get out of this. And to really think, do I have a goal? Do I have a goal? Am I trying to avoid obligation and commitment? Because we should not avoid obligation and commitment. If you have a goal, then you're going to stay committed to it. And let me give you examples of what in our daily lives, practical ways that we can develop grit. I'm going to give different examples. One I want to give is, let's say in your relationship now, and you're having communication issues. Maybe you haven't even started having communication issues, but a way to develop grit is to decide that I'm going to listen before saying anything. So let's say you have a relationship with someone. I hope you have a goal of mutual respect. I hope you have a goal of understanding each other. So if your goal is mutual respect, understanding each other, then listening to the other person is a given, because there's no way you will show mutual respect and understanding each other if you don't listen to each other. And you're not going to say, I'm going to listen today and not listen tomorrow. No, you have to consistently listen, because you have a goal. I have a goal of understanding the other person. I have a goal of mutual respect. I have a goal of oneness. So I'm not going to choose the day that I want to be a good listener. So that's an example of in your daily life. For my relationships, I have to always come with listening first. I have to listen. I have to listen. It's not negotiable. It's not some days I listen, some days. No. If the goal, again, long-term goal, if the goal is that we want to stay one, we want to show mutual respect, we want to make sure that the other person is heard, then I don't pick when I listen. Another one is health. I want to stay healthy. I want to eat well because I want to be healthy. Now, you have to know, you have to say no to cravings. Oh, it looks good. I love sugar. I just love when I eat the way it makes me feel, you know, all that. Those are the pressures you have to withstand for health. So we have a generation now that is, I think it's always been, but more now because the people in the food industry are producing things that they actually study psychology. They're like, okay, that can be a sensation for their taste buds, for their senses, even the way the food looks. They're playing on our emotions just because they want to drag us in. So you have the responsibility of, I want health. So I'm not gonna pick everything and anything because it looks good. I'm going to be picking what I eat based on the nutritional value. I better be able to read what they wrote there. Based on what will it do for me. So every day you say no, you're developing grit. And that's why consistency is key. If you don't say no today, you say yes today, tomorrow you say no, you're not going to develop grit. So be able to say, I'm going to just be consistent. How about digital habits? How we stay on social media, or we scroll on social media, or just the things that we put into our minds. We want to be able to control our consumption. So what is the goal? I want to have a clear mind. I want to create space to be creative for the things I need to be creative for. And I know that when I spend a lot of time on social media, by the time I'm done, I'm fatigued and tired, creativity is low, I have other things occupying space in my mind that should not be. So that means I have to have a consistent way of having the boundaries of what I say no to with regards to what I look at and how much time I spend. Don't forget consistency. How often you say no is very key. Not once in a while. Some of us do social media fasting once a year during Lent. That's the only time. The only time. You say, oh, it's social media fasting. I'm fasting. Once the Lent is over now, we just start. We forget. And let's not do that to ourselves. We have to be consistent. All right? How about finances? Delayed gratification will be what we have to do daily so that we can have some financial freedom. So again, daily commitment to, I see that purse. Yesterday I went shopping. I didn't go shopping for myself, but I saw this black leather purse. Jeez. I wanted to pick it, but I did not. My brothers and sisters, I did not pick it. I'm still thinking about that purse, but I will not pick it because I have another leather, black leather purse, but that one was fine. And let me not even talk about it too much so that I will not change my mind. But I'm saying we have to have self-control. There's so many beautiful things out here. So many beautiful things. It's the same thing as even self-control as a guy, as a woman. You know, you see this beautiful damsel that the Lord made man, and you're like, I have to pursue and conquer. You know, not good, my brother. You don't have to be pursuing and conquering everything you see. That is beautiful. Because there are many beautiful women in this world, though. Everyone that He created has its own beauty. You don't kill yourself now. At the end of the day, it will impact on your health and your life. Physically, it will impact on you. Emotionally, it will. Relationship-wise, it will. Especially when you're already committed to someone, but your eyes are everywhere. It's not good. And the same goes to women too, because it's not only brothers that are pursuing things. Sisters too are pursuing. So let us have a culture of self-control. Is it easy? No. but one day at a time. Because right now, what I have is today. I don't know about tomorrow. I don't have to worry about tomorrow's self-control. I don't have to say, how will I control myself for the rest of my life now? You don't have to do that. You know how many years you will live. You don't know now. All you have is this moment now that is calling you to make a choice. So just make a choice to, I will control myself. I will zip up. I will act accordingly. I will leave the store and not buy that purse. Or whatever the control is. Just do it one day at a time. That's how you move to it. But the know of yesterday will help you today. Some people are like, how do you have self-control in your marriage? How do you have self-control as a man or a woman? How do you develop the grit that gives you self-control? It's what you did in your teenage years. The many no's that I said in my teenage years is helping me today. There are some things that are not temptation to me today. They are not temptation for me today because over the years, one day at a time, one opportunity at a time, I said no. So I'm in a better place to continue to say no today. But if there are things that you struggled with before and you said yes to before, it's going to be harder for you today, but it doesn't mean you can't start now. You can always start, and today can be your starting point. Please don't let nobody tell you that you're too late to start doing well. No, it's not too late. Yeah, maybe you made choices that were not the best before, but please start today. And how about your spiritual life? You know, you want to get closer to God. You know, people have dreams. Oh, I wish I could pray like this person. I wish I could talk like this person. But don't wish. Start now. Talk to God now. Jesus, are you there? Can you hear me? Talk to him right now. Oh, the Bible is so complicated. I don't know whether I can understand it. Start now. Open it. Read something. If you read a place and it's like, whoa, what is this? Open to somewhere else. But you have to be committed though. Don't forget, there has to be a goal. If the goal is I want to know the Lord more, I want to grow in my fellowship with the Lord more. If that's the goal, then every step, the ability to endure, to move closer to the goal is great. So one step at a time, you keep moving to that goal of knowing the Lord. When I decided that I was going to follow Jesus and I was like, okay, pray. There are times that prayer, I'm like, okay, what am I going to say? It like sounds boring. And I used to time myself. Okay, let me try and pray for 5 minutes. I'll pray, I'll open my eyes, it's just 2 minutes. Hey, I'm like, when will I get to 5 minutes now? But it was a process. Just doing something every day. Okay, I add another minute to it today, tomorrow. And then it wasn't stressful anymore because I just enjoyed God's presence. So commit to it daily, whatever that goal is. Think about it. What is that goal? Have that goal. If you don't have a goal, you will not be able to stay the long haul. If you do not have a goal, you will follow any direction. You will go with people. If people say, hey, let's go this way, you will follow them and go that way because you really don't know where you're going anyway. Anywhere will lead me to anywhere. But when you have a goal, everybody can go that way and you say, is that way I want to go? And it's going to be lonely sometimes. What keeps you in that loneliness is I have a goal. Like Jesus said, for the joy that is set before me, I will withstand and withhold this pain. So a goal is important. It keeps you focused. You need that focus. And then you be committed to it. So don't pick a goal that even you yourself, you're like, it's not doing anything. Pick a goal that you can be committed to. Can you be committed to this goal? So 1, you have a goal. 2, be committed. 3, you want to reframe pressure. See it as training. See every no, see every time you have to have self-control as training. This is building me up and this is getting me closer to my goal. Instead of saying, they're punishing me, they don't like me. No, it's training you up. I was in a space where I felt it was a church space. I was a teenager. And I remember at that time, some of the leaders, they just had people that they noticed, they recognized. And I can't remember what I did or didn't do. I think I was serving at the church then. There was something I didn't do and I was picked on. And I remember asking God, like, why did they pick on me? What did I even do? Whatever. When I do what is good, they don't see me. But when I do something wrong, they pick on me. And I see other people that they're not picking on. It didn't make sense to me. I didn't even know that God was preparing me for the future. In the future, I'll be in spaces where, again, I might not be recognized. Again, there might be standards in how people are being picked to do things. But over the years, I have been able to develop thick skin that it doesn't matter where the applause is going. I just know, like, okay, I have a goal and I am open to hear someone tell me I didn't do it well because I will learn from it. Even if it hurts, I know that I'm learning from it. Okay, so you want to reframe that hardship. You want to reframe what you're not getting as, maybe I really need to learn from this. Don't run away from it. Don't quit. I remember someone telling me, like, if they're doing that to you, quit. Just stop. I'm like, that's not even an option. I'm not going to quit because someone didn't do something that I wanted them to do or someone didn't acknowledge me. No, I'm not here for them. I stay and do what I'm supposed to do, but how did I get to that point though? Was the many years when I was much younger, even as a teenager, as a young adult, kept painfully learning to just stay and learn and grow. So now as an adult where the stakes are higher, I'm learning to continue to do that. And I've not even gotten to the end. I still have the goal that I'm trying to reach. And things get more challenging, but it's easier for me to withstand. So please be consistent and then lean on the Lord. Lean on the Lord. Bible says that it is God who works in us, both to do his will and to do his will. So it is the Lord that will work within you. A lot of these things about having self-control, about staying and saying no instead of saying yes, I'm not going to lie to you that it's easy. Many no's that I've said on prayer. Prayer. I've said it with prayer. And I'm using the past examples because that's how grit is formed. It's not formed in a day. It's the daily saying no's. I remember the prayers I used to pray then as a teenage girl. I'd be like, Jesus, I don't want to do anything bad with that boy. That's how I'll be praying. But God honored my prayers. I was learning discipline. I was learning self-control. I don't think I knew all the things I was learning. But because I was trying to do things that were contrary to my physical desires, I knew I couldn't do them myself. I had to pray about it. So I have prayed to the Lord over my business. I'm like, Jesus, help me to be consistent, to see my clients, to show up. I pray, help me to pick up the call and do what I need to do. Because it's okay to admit that you're weak. It's okay to admit that you don't want to stay consistent. It's okay to say another yes or another no that the Lord is asking from you is just hard. But he's not asking you to do it on your own. He's saying, invite me and let me do it with you. He works in you to give you that strength. Part of the fruit of the Holy Spirit is self-control. He'll give you. And he'll give you with joy. joy is part of it. He'll give you with peace. So yes, you can have this soft life with Jesus. You can do it with peace, you can do it with joy, you can do it with love, and then you can have self-control with it. And you can be faithful. Part of the fruit of the Spirit is faithfulness. You don't have to be flaky. You don't have to be going there. You can be faithful. You can. Let the Holy Spirit help you. So invite him into the space. And I can't say enough about being consistent. Just be consistent. He will help you to be consistent. The Bible says that Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. And this same Jesus, his Spirit lives within you. So that means you have the ability to be consistent if you ask him, help me to show up. I don't feel like showing up. I'm tired. I'm tired of this marriage. I'm tired of hustling. I'm tired of showing up at work or at school. I'm tired of trying to make it work. I'm tired. Tell him and ask him that same Spirit that he had that made him stay the long haul, you want him to give you. Just ask him for today. Today, that you are in, ask him. He'll give you. All right. I've come to the end of my talk today on grit. Don't forget the things we said. Have a goal. And this could be different goals in different areas of your life. Have a goal. Stay committed to the goal. Reframe how you look at the challenges, because those challenges are there. They will build you up. Every no will build you up. Every restraining self-control will build you up. Be consistent, and please let the Lord help you. I want you to find time to listen to this again, because it's awesome. It's something that I also need to keep reminding myself on. We're going to upload it on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube. And in the future, you'll see the reels that will be on IG. And please follow us. Follow us. If you're not following me on YouTube, please follow me on YouTube. And we're going to send reminders of today's talk at different times on IG. Also follow and share. Please share with people, because that's what we need in our days today. And think about it, even after this, like, where is God forming, greeting me today? Where is God saying, hey, grow in this area? So think about that. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. God bless you. Bless you real good. See ya.